Γεια σας παιδιά, NG1 here. Θα σας τρελάνω σήμερα. Θα παίξουμε ένα παιχνίδι, μα ένα παιχνίδι που δεν ξέρω ποιος θα τρελάνει ποιον. Σήμερα θα χάσει η μάνα το παιδί και το παιδί τη μάνα. Ένας αφηγητής, εμείς οι παίκτες και ο Στάνλι. Θέλω πολλά να σας πω, αλλά θα σας αποκοιμήσω νομίζω με τον τρόπο αυτό. Εκτός αν είστε τίποτα περίεργοι. Τίποτα ανώμαλοι που το γουστάρετε να σας μιλάει μία φωνή ρομποτική και να το εφαρμόσω και στα υπόλοιπα live. Τι λέτε, είστε έτοιμοι μετά από αυτή την περίεργη εισαγωγή μου, και όχι τίποτα άλλο. Αλλά είπαμε, από την ερχόμενη εβδομάδα έχουμε αλλαγές. Τα live θα γίνονται κάθε Παρασκευή στις 9 μετά μεσημβρίαν. Μη το ξεχνάτε. Τώρα θα σας μιλήσει ο NG1. Πολύ σας μίλησα εγώ. Bye.
Bye κούκλα μου, bye. Λοιπόν, τρελή εισαγωγή, γιατί σήμερα παίζουμε The Stanley Parable. Ένα τρελό παιχνίδι με αφηγητή που θα μας μιλάει σχεδόν όλη την ώρα, με επιλογές που έχουμε να κάνουμε εμείς στο παιχνίδι, εκτός παιχνιδιού, με το παιχνίδι και πάει λέγοντας. Παίζεις δεν παίζεις, ένα και ταυτό. Δεν έχω να πω κάτι άλλο εγώ. Θέλω να μου πείτε αν είστε καλά όλοι σας, και αν δεν είστε, εδώ είμαι εγώ για να νιώσουμε όλοι καλά και να γίνουμε καλά. Και σήμερα είναι η τελευταία μέρα που γίνεται το live, Πέμπτη ας πούμε. Η Τετάρτη, η Τρίτη, η Δευτέρα, η Κυριακή, δεν είχαμε κάτι. Από την άλλη εβδομάδα, κάθε Παρασκευή στις 9 η ώρα το βράδυ, να είστε συντονισμένοι στο NG1 το κανάλι, σε αυτό εδώ που είστε και σήμερα, για να βλέπετε τα live stream. Χαμός θα γίνει. Όλα στάνταρ, όλα αλλάζουν. Όλα. Γι' αυτό αλλάζουμε και εμείς και πάμε από το καλό στο καλύτερο και από το κακό στο χειρότερο. Εντάξει, όλα μαζί. Λοιπόν, σήμερα όπως βλέπετε έχω ντυθεί υπάλληλος γραφείου. Το παιχνίδι έχει να κάνει με έναν υπάλληλο γραφείου, το οποίο γίνεται κάποια πράγματα εκεί πέρα. Υπάρχει ένας αφηγητής, εντάξει, που θα μας μιλάει, θα μας λέει, θα μας βοηθάει. Κάποια πράγματα θα βοηθάνε, κάποια πράγματα τα ξέρει ο αφηγητής για μας, ενώ εμείς δεν τα ξέρουμε από κάπου, ούτε θα χρειάζεται να ψάχνουμε. Οπότε, να σας πω ότι το παιχνίδι έχει πάνω από 10 διαφορετικά endings. Εντάξει. Εγώ, να πω την αλήθεια ότι το έπαιξα λίγο και μάλιστα κατάφερα να βρω ένα ending και το τερμάτισα μέσα σε 24 λεπτά. Αν θέλετε μπορούμε να το κάνουμε τσάκα, να το δείτε και τέλος. Πάμε να το τερματίσουμε και πιο γρήγορα από 24 λεπτά. Και πάμε να δούμε και ένα άλλο, αν βρούμε. Αν δεν βρούμε θα δούμε. Οκ. Λοιπόν, ακούγομαι ή δεν ακούγομαι. Ακούγομαι, εντάξει. Γιατί δεν είναι κανείς μέσα να με ενημερώσει, έτσι. Όπως πάντα είμαι μόνος μου. Άλλοι το βλέπουν το live μετά, άλλοι το βλέπουν πιο μετά, γιατί δουλεύουν κάποιοι, όπως και εμείς. Πλέον θα δουλεύουμε. Και έτσι ξυπνάμε το πρωί. Οπότε τα live θα γίνονται Παρασκευή για να μπορούμε να κοιμόμαστε το Σάββατο. Λοιπόν, πάμε σιγά σιγά να δούμε το game. The Stanley Parable. Να μου πείτε αν ακούγεται ή όχι, έτσι. Λοιπόν, υπότιτλοι θα βάλουμε αγγλικούς. Have you played the Stanley Parable before? Εγώ ας πούμε το έχω παίξει μια φορά εκεί που το εννοείς, από ότι το έχω παίξει. Please adjust it. Λοιπόν, κάτσε λίγο να το κατεβάσουμε εδώ πέρα. τα βλέπετε καλύτερα. Please enter the current time after midnight. Λοιπόν, είμαστε πριν τα μεσάνυχτα. Οπότε είμαστε, τι ώρα είναι? 10 και 57. Όπα. 58 πήγε. Ωραία. Θέλει και την ώρα. Ωραία. Okay. Ξεκινάει το story μας. Το παιχνίδι μας. Έλα, begin. The end is never the end, never.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons.
Ο αφηγητής είναι αυτός, έτσι.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day,
πάτα λέει το έπι και 34 δευτερόλεπτα.
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Και ο Stanley ήταν χαρούμενος, λέει, με αυτή τη δουλειά που έκανε.
And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Λοιπόν, αυτή ήταν η δουλειά του. Δηλαδή ήταν σε ένα γραφείο και του στέλνανε κάποια πράγματα να κάνει στον υπολογιστή και του λέγανε, ας πούμε, πάτα το K, το L, ας πούμε, το πλήκτρο για 34 δευτερόλεπτα. Πάτα το M για 30. Η δουλειά του ήταν αυτή. Κάποια μέρα δεν του ήρθε ποτέ να πατήσει κάτι, δεν ήταν κανείς στο γραφείο να του πει ένα για να το βοηθήσει σε κάτι τέτοιο και αποφάσισε να σηκωθεί και να βγει. Λοιπόν, θέλετε να κάνουμε το γρήγορο το ending? Λοιπόν, να δεις ένα γρήγορο ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Μπες τώρα, σας δείξω ένα γρήγορο ending. Αυτό που είχα κάνει.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Πάμε από εκεί που μας λέει. Το meeting room είναι εδώ.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Πάμε να ανεβούμε τις σκάλες για να ανεβούμε.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Αυτό είναι το γραφείο του αφεντικού.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
45. 2, 8. 4. 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing! He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Δείτε. Μας κάνει λουάντινγκ τώρα.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Στο καλό. Πήγαμε στα έγκατα.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Εδώ γράφει escape όμως. Εδώ μπορούμε να φύγουμε. Δεν πάμε εκεί. Αυτός μας είπε να πάμε από εκεί.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Στο τέλος του διαδρόμου, λέει, θα συναντήσει το θάνατό του, το βίο θάνατό του. Για πάμε να δούμε.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Και σου λέει, η πόρτα που ίσως δεν έκλεισε, έχει κάτι, την πιθανότητα να διαλέξει να πάει πίσω, να γυρίσει. Αλλά αυτό συνέχισε, λέω τώρα.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Πώς θα πήγαινε το θάνατο του, έφτανε στο τέλος. Πέσαμε. Σκοτωθήκαμε. Ουπα.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Αλλά το πέσαμε. Πέσαμε από πάνω εδώ, δες. The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Thus?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Καλώς ήρθες πάλι. Εδώ είναι το γραφείο που ξεκινήσαμε, παιδιά. Ο διάδρομος που ακολουθήσαμε όλος αυτός. Εντάξει. Εδώ πέρα είναι το meeting room, όχι. Το meeting room το είχαμε περάσει, ναι. Εδώ πέρα ήταν επιλογή τις δύο πόρτες. Εντάξει. The two doors. Και εμείς διαλέξαμε την αριστερή. Εδώ πέρα έχει τα credits. Ή θα να σας δείξω, τι θα να σας δείξω, το κάτσε μισό λεπτό. Ο narrator είναι ο Kevin Brighting, το ξέρετε. Κάτι θα να σας δείξω, τι θα να σας δείξω. Σε ποιο. Κάτι είχα δει, παιδιά, μισό λεπτό να το βρω. Original music Γιάννης Ιωαννίδης. Τι ήθελα να δω. Εδώ ήταν κάτι άλλο. Τα κουμπιά αυτά. Θα μπορείς να τα κλείσεις. Ναι, τίποτα. Θυμάμαι, κάτι είχα δει τώρα εδώ πέρα. Τι ήταν? Τόσο πάνω. Μπορείς να δεις αυτά. Είναι κάτι σαν μουσείο τώρα εδώ. Εδώ είναι ο narrator. Δες τι γράφει. Έχουν γυρίσει πολλά διαφορετικά, λέει, για τον narrator. Για να μιλάει πολλά πράγματα και να λέει. Όλα καλά, λέει, κοιμήθηκαν οι υπόλοιποι. Όλα καλά, οι άλλοι νομίζω δεν κοιμήθηκαν. Ακούω την τηλεόραση να παίζει μέσα. Πρέπει να κοιμηθούν όμως. Αύριο έχουμε σχολείο. Θα κάνουμε. Μισό λεπτό. Εδώ είναι το ασανσέρ που πήραμε. Εδώ πάμε.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game.
Πρέπει να κλείσουμε το PlayStation μας, λέει, φαντάσου.
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Μας έλειωσε. Αλλά υπάρχει μυστικό. Γιατί όλα αυτά γίνονται για κάποιο λόγο. Μας έλεγε υπάρχει μόνο ένας τρόπος, λέει, να γλιτώσει από όλα αυτά. Κλείσε το PlayStation σου. Και ξαναβγαίνουμε εδώ.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Πάμε, λέει, στο meeting room. Μήπως έπεσε κανένα μέμο, ας πούμε, να το βρούμε.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Δεν θυμάμαι τι έκανα εδώ. Κάτσε, ναι. Μέχρι και στον boss πήγα πάνω.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Όλα γρήγορα.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Έτσι, εγώ θα τον αφήσω να ακούσει λίγα το μουσικής, λέει, για να μην βιάζεται. Με κάνει ό,τι θέλει, καταλάβεις. Ενώ εγώ βιάζομαι να τα κάνω.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward.
Δες τι παιχνίδι, πόσο παίζει μαζί σου. Λοιπόν, θα να σου δείξω το τέλος. Πάλι από εδώ. Το πιο γρήγορο τέλος πάλι. Εδώ, ναι.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Πας εδώ μετά, όπως σου λέει. Ξεκινάς και τα πατάς και βλέπεις τώρα.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Παρακάτω.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Είμαστε στις 27. Θυμάμαι ποιοι είμαστε. Στις 27 πρέπει να είμαστε εκεί πέρα. Θα σου πω. Δεν θυμάμαι τώρα ποιο ήτανε.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Και μια μεγάλη οθόνη, play mind controls, awaiting input. Το κλείνουμε. Και εδώ τερματίζεις, αν θυμάμαι καλά.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Was it over? Τελείωσε? Yes.
He had won.
Νίκησα.
He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
That's all.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
Η ζωή μας πραγματικά είναι έτσι με τις δουλειές, παιδιά.
The only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Μόνο όταν τα βγεις έξω στη φύση να ζήσεις, τότε θα είσαι ελεύθερος. Όλη η άλλη ζωή σου δεν αξίζει για τίποτα.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Και έτσι ο Stanley ήταν χαρούμενος. Γιατί άφησε τη δουλειά του, βγήκε έξω στον κόσμο, στη φύση και έζησε. Τέλος η δουλειά. Άντε γεια. Λοιπόν, αλλά ξανασυνεχίζει το παιχνίδι. Και τώρα από εδώ και πέρα δεν ξέρω τι γίνεται. Τεστ 27, καλά το θυμάμαι. Πάμε.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Δεν έχει τίποτα. Awaiting input. Ωπ. Τι έβαλε. Input received. Εγώ το πάτησα και το έβγαλε. new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Νέο περιεχόμενο. Τι σημαίνει νέο περιεχόμενο? Καινούργια πράγματα.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Πόσο παίζει μαζί σου, ρε φίλε, το παιχνίδι?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Jump circle. Θα σκύβει. Δεν έχει κάποιο πιτάει. Σαν χαζός κάτι τα κάνεις. Άμα θες δεν τα κάνεις, φεύγεις. Πρέπει να τα κάνεις, μα τι γίνεται. Τα κάνεις και τίποτα.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Αυτό ήταν. Πάλι ασασίρ.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Δεν είναι η ώρα αυτή. Όχι. 11 και 24, 22 είναι. Παίζει με τα λεπτά λίγο. Λέει. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's wanted. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Μου κάνει restart το παιχνίδι, αυτό το new content. Άλλαξε το γραφείο. Εδώ έχετε κανονική ώρα. Όχι. Εδώ έχει 23. Έκλεισε η πόρτα.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Να πάω. Μαλάκα, πόσο παίζει. Δεν θα πάω, ρε φίλε. Πάω εδώ.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Τι σου λέει, ρε φίλε. Να πάω ή όχι? Κάτσε, εδώ ήταν... Α, τώρα είναι κλειστό αυτό. Κλειστό το new content. Έλα, ρε φίλε.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Πάμε δεξιά τώρα.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Τέσσερα Β9.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yeah. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Τι, αφού έχει μια ευθεία.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
5 years ago. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for mission.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Yeah. Bella.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
No,
it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Δεν είσαι ο Stanley, είσαι πραγματικό πρόσωπο.
I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, it can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Vamos a trellar.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Πηδήξω από εδώ. Δεν πηδάει. Λέει, do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. Μας γυρίζει πίσω τώρα.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Τι μας άφησαν πάνω να του δείξει το δρόμο.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Και άμα ξαναμπω στη δεξιά, τι θα γίνει?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Χαλασμένο είναι, πώς είναι. Να μπω, όχι. Ξαναμπω εδώ. Δεν μ' αφήνει. Άντε, ας μπω εδώ. Χάλασε.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Στο παιχνίδι. Το κλείσε. Τι, μείναμε μέσα στο παιχνίδι. Τους σκίσαμε. Τι έγινε?
I'm here. I'm still here. We're in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you. You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Ναι, εδώ είναι. Φίλε, το πατάω.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Night.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there?
Hello?
It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Κόλλησε τα γράμματα. Τι γίνεται ρε? Τι γίνεται τελείως τώρα, παιχνίδι ξαναρχίζει. Δεν παίζει. Πάμε να μας μιλήσουμε.
Psst, Stanley, come over here, in the vent. I want to show you something.
Άντε πάμε.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new ultra deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Secret. Άλλο τέλος.
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Φίλε, έχουν βάλει... Έχουν βάλει πράγματα από τότε, τι σαν μουσείο το κάνεις. Εντάξει, θέλω να τα δω όλα, ρε φίλε. Το demo. Prince Academy. Για story, για την boot game και για game innovation. Έχει πάρει βραβεία.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now, a lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Πες, θεία δεν φαίνεται.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
What kind of franchise now? Your number is 29.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
The Serious Room 2013. 29 είπαμε. Έχει ανοίξει κάτι τώρα και δεν το βλέπω. Όχι. Πίσω πάω. Εδώ κάτω.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Not recommended, yeah.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Μας τρελάνει. Καλό.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy, honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Skip button. Not the skip button. Δεν θέλω skip button όμως. Δεν έχει τίποτα από εδώ. Και όντως πρέπει να το πατήσω.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll be... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unenjoyable. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been...
Δεν σταματάει.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for 1 entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of misery.
Πες το δέντρο. Δεν μιλάει. Θαύμα. Και ώρα σταμάτησε. Τώρα δεν είναι εδώ. Το πατήσω. Δεν έχει να κάνω κάτι άλλο. Έπεσε και αυτό. Ξύπνητη χτυπάει. Όχι, να γεμώσει εδώ πάνω.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough.
Εντάξει, τώρα με παίζει ρε φίλε. Με παίζει πολύ το παιχνίδι.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Τρέλα ρε, πριν με χρειάμα το λέγε. Τώρα έχω νερά από εδώ. Πάνω, θα πατήσουμε. Δεν μιλάει. Γκρεμίσει και ο τείχος. Ωραία, θα έρθει η υγρασία τώρα εδώ. Περνάει ο καιρός, τι να σου πει. Ω, έβγαλε και ίδιο. Πόσος χρόνος περνάει δηλαδή για να φυτρώσουν όλα αυτά ρε φίλε. Τι έγινε εδώ. Παβαζώσανε. Δεν πρέπει να γίνεται χώρο τώρα. Γιατί έχει και φοβάμαι λίγο. Ωχ, έπεσε. Ω, είναι στραβό. Βγήκα. Μπορώ να το πατήσω πάλι. Όχι. Is never the end, the end is never the end, never the end is never. Ξαναέρθα εδώ. Δεν αλλάξει κάτι.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Αλλιώς είναι αυτό, εδώ είχε φωτογραφία. Δεν είχε. Όχι, αυτό ήταν. Input received 2. Άμα το βρίσκω... Α, πρέπει να βρίσκω αυτό το τέτοιο. Τον υπολογιστή. Λες. New content. New content.
Oh good, you noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Πάλι. Αλλού με πήγε. Δεν με έστριψε δεξιά. New content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Πλάκα κάνεις.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Κάτσε λίγο αυτό. Κάτσε λίγο να το κάνω ένα save. Δώστε μου. Σόπα. Σόπα. The end is never the end again.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Η πόρτα που μπήκα μέσα, αυτή είναι το 2 και καλά, υποτίθεται. The Stanley Parable 2.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Μισό λεπτό πάλι. Αυτό είναι ωραία ρε φίλε, τα έχω. Who took the red marker? Me. This way to the show floor. What έχουμε κάνει? Red carpet. New content. New features. Too. The Stanley Parable 2.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Merchandise. Άντε φύγε. Άντε φύγε. No screenshots, please. Εντάξει, δεν παίζει.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Get Well Someday, happy. Το μπλε.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Τρέλα ρε φίλε. The jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Collectibles. Εντάξει. Collect them all.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Μία σεξ. Πάνω δεξιά το γράφει, δεν φαίνεται, το βλέπεις. Εντάξει.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Through new easy trophy. Get it here. Get yours right now. Pull the lever. Receive your new trophy. No more steps. It just works. Get your rights now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Τι μαλάκας που είσαι ρε φίλε, εντάξει. Δεν παίζει. Δεν παίζει αυτό το πράγμα να το κάνουνε. Ρε φίλε, τέτοια παιχνίδια δεν υπάρχει να τα βρεις ρε φίλε, δεν υπάρχει. Δεν μπορείς να βρεις παιχνίδια.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Δεν έχει τίποτα. You are here. Όλα αυτά είναι. Exit. Από εδώ βγαίνεις. Infinity Hole. Γιατί won't end, δεν τελειώνει ποτέ. Να πας. Από εδώ βγήκαμε. Ναι. Εδώ ήρθαμε. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Here your name in the game. Τώρα πλάκα μου κάνεις.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see! What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you! Do it again! Do it again!
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Τι έχουν κάνει ρε φίλε.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Epilogue. Κλειστά είναι. Πάμε στο Infinity Hole.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Μια θρή που πέφτει συνέχεια.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top and we can continue onward. Great! Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Μας δουλεύεις. Μας δουλεύεις. Exit. Εδώ. Φύγουμε, φτάνει.
Oh goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Πού είναι το bucket exhibit? Κάτι δεν έχω δει. Ένα κινητό. Το bucket exhibit. Το είδαμε. Εδώ. Να το.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Και πού τον πάω που πατώ, ρε παιδιά.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Τι είπε. Δεν πρόσεχα πάλι. Τώρα μπορώ να φύγω με τον κουβά ή όχι. Να αφήνει. Μια τσάντα έχει εδώ. New Mac.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Πάμε ξανά από την αρχή και θα λέγεται το 2. Εντάξει. Δώστε μου λίγο πάλι. Γιατί όντως θα μας κουφάνε το παιχνίδι, παιδιά. Λίγο ακόμα. Λίγο ακόμα γιατί πρέπει. Και θα είναι το ίδιο, ξεκινάει κανονικά.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ο κουβάς. Τον είδατε. Πού είναι ο υπολογιστής? Εδώ είναι κλειστά. Εδώ είναι ο κουβάς. Να πάρω τον κουβά.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Και τον έβαλε στο κόμμα.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. We found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Εντάξει, μας τρελάνεις.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Ναι, έλος ήταν αυτό. Αλλά το τέλος δεν έχετε ποτέ.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
In the meeting day. Finger files. Δεν θα πάρω το κουβά τώρα. Πάω στο meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
How we can find them? Six.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figure. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Δεν είχε μπει. Τι.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Oh, qué figura.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines. And now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlers. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Loading.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Τι διελυθήκαμε, εξαηλωθήκαμε. Όχι. Όχι. The sequel is now paused. Παιδιά, το παιχνίδι βλέπετε είναι τρελό. Δεν σταματάει, δεν ξεκινάει, δεν έχει τέλος, δεν έχει μέσα, δεν σε τρελάνει. Λοιπόν, αυτό θα ήταν το βίντεο για σήμερα. Εντάξει, παίξαμε αρκετά που το είδαμε. Κάναμε και ένα editing κατευθείαν. Μπορείτε να με ακολουθήσετε σε Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Φυσικά στο YouTube like και comment για να με βοηθήσετε. Κοινοποίηση, το καμπανάκι για να σας έρχονται ειδοποιήσεις για τα βίντεο μου. Και από την άλλη εβδομάδα μην ξεχνάτε, κάθε Παρασκευή σε 9 η ώρα θα έχουμε πλέον livestream. Κάθε Παρασκευή, κάθε φορά σε 9 η ώρα. Εντάξει. Ευχαριστώ που ήσασταν εδώ πέρα όλοι σας, λίγο πολύ. Θα τα πούμε την ερχόμενη εβδομάδα Παρασκευή 9 η ώρα. Οκ. Φιλούθια. Bye.